So, part two, Old English meaning western town or from the west settlement. That makes sense because he's from the United States. He's from Virginia, which would be, I don't know if Virginia itself plays a role in that, but I do know, well, actually, Virginia has the name Virgin in it. Mary, Virgin, Christian, going with the Christian theme here. So it's very tied to the Christian thing. So I see the alignment here. Western town, of course, like I just said, the United States would be the West. Directionally west, like I said, I didn't read that and it just showed up symbolism. Directionally west often symbolizes endings, dusk, mystery, or transition phase before new dawn. And names Western may also invoke a kind of American or Anglo heritage, geographic rootedness, or even a French symbolism, someone on the edge of something larger. Yes, definitely. And you know, the Russians, they love their symbolism. Occupation or surname, originally a maker or seller of candles. I don't know what it would be a stretch, but candle could be not the menorah. It would be what am I thinking of? The lamps, the 10. If you don't know the Bible, that would be the 10 virgins, where it's called the parable of the 10 virgins. 5 virgins had lamps, and the other 5. Hang on. 5 of them had oil in their lamps, and they were ready to go to the marriage supper. And then you had the other 5 who didn't have any oil in their lamps, and they had to go get oil, and they ended up being left behind. So that's a stretch, because that's a lamp, not a candle. Although in the book of Revelation, there is known as the candlesticks. The candlesticks represent the... Was it the candlesticks? The candlesticks would be the... I believe they were angels. Candlesticks represents the angels. No, it was the lampstands. The lampstands were there were lampstands, and then there were candles in the lampstands. I forget. But I see the Revelation thing. I see it, how you could get candles and the candlesticks more so than lamps. That would be in the Revelation when this Christ figure returns. Which is what he's... Again, it's all aligning. The candle maker is a powerful metaphor, one who creates light, guidance, and warmth. Symbolically, this could represent someone whose life involves bringing light into dark places, or metaphorically navigating complicated personal journeys. Hang on, I wanna look at something first. Never mind. Never mind, because I just thought of something. There was something else. I was thinking about the Chinese zodiac when he said monkey, and I know that, and I was thinking that it was associated with the month, like the zodiac in like what we use, like Aquarius is February, Leo is August, and all of them. I was thinking about the zodiac, but I remember that the Chinese zodiac goes by years and not by months. And monkey does play a role. They said that's his first word, but that plays a role in this. Symbolically, this could represent someone whose life involves bringing light in dark places, metaphorically navigating complicated personal journeys. Concerning pop culture, friends, is often so with complex personalities, are writing or someone who doesn't fit the mold. Christine Weston Chandler as a whole sounds like a name that contains both light-bringing, Christine, and directional transitional identity. So, again, that aligns with the Christ archetype. It invokes a kind of spiritual personal journey, the path of someone walking between light and shadow, tradition and transformation. It's widely known as Christian, again Christian, an internet personality whose life has become a complex tapestry of identity, controversy, internet culture, transformation. And you know, the KGB loves this stuff. Russia loves this stuff. The shift from Christopher to Christine was a deeply personal and symbolic act of gender affirmation. The name Christine is kind of becomes a statement of self-realization, rebirth, and spiritual evolution. There is a certain irony and lyricism in the name Christine, Christ-bearer, Weston, limiter edge, Chandler, maker of light. It says Christ-bearer. You could say it's Christ-bearer because it contains the name Christ in the name. But you could also, well, Christina would be another one. But could a Christ figure actually be female? You could make that argument. You could make that debate. It almost sounds like a fictional character from a spiritual allegory or an existential story arc, yet it's grounded in real human struggle, identity shifts, societal reaction, and myth making through the internet. So all this comes together. It all ties in. Right? Would you let me go deeper in one of these acres? So, they will like. And that's a very short one. Yes, Christine. Email. Both symbolically and mythically. Christine literally means follower of Christ, or even Christ bearer, just like Christopher before it. But in mythic, symbolic analysis, names are often influence inward essence, not just outer worlds. So when you have a name like Christ bearer, you're saying that your soul is Christ. In an inward essence. But that doesn't apply to everybody. You would say, well, I mean, you could go into theological analysis to pick things out. I'm not going to do that here. I'll do that in a later video. So Christine carries the weight of Christ's energy, symbolically pointing to someone who embodies suffering, transformation, rebirth, and even rejection, key pillars of the Christ archetype, which they follow in lines. Chandler, as we said earlier, this refers to the maker of candors, of the ring of light, which is deeply archetypal in a spiritual mythical light, bringing often messianic figures of prophets, misunderstood, often prosecuted, but embodying spiritual illumination. So this is all, depending on how you look at it, they're getting confirmation that they are because of all this information. So I can't argue with that. I can't argue that this person isn't who they claim they say they are. I can't make the argument against it. But what I can tell you is that they're not. That's all I can tell you. I know that they aren't. But they could definitely fill that role if there was a perception to the world. Right? People will believe it. Some will. I don't know how many will, how many won't, but some will. A symbolic compass marker. West is the place of sunset, endings are even, death before resurrection. In many traditions, West represents the direction one travels in before rebirth in the East. Another Christ motif. Death, rebirth cycle. Again, the Western world. What I was talking about. I don't think I've talked about that, but the West, the West falls, it follows the East. Right? Similar for others until they are not. Christian's life is misunderstood, controversial, and tragic as it may appear, follows a very archetypal descent into chaos and public crucifixion model. The internet in this interpretation becomes a modern Colosseum, and Christine is a sacrificial figure, made into spectacle, ridiculed, and often humanized, yet undeniably central to a strange kind of cultural mythos. The full martyr redeemer. There's something Jungian or alchemical about Christine's role in the culture. She's both the fool and the martyr. A clown and a tragic figure, ridiculing a perverted digital consciousness. The internet obsession with Christine reveals more about society's collective shadow than about Christine herself. Chris, archetype and inversion, not glorified as a redeemer, but thrown to the wolves, yet still carrying small exposure of collective sin, scapegoat function. I'm going to end it right here, and I'm going to make a comment about that, because I'm about to run out of time, so I'm going to have a part 3.